Ladies and gentlemen, holy moly, you just missed it. Donna Phoebus going on a rant, and it was epic.
You got to get that shit out every once in a while, Mike.
All right.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
With that said.
Well said, Donna. And two things I also want to cover. Number one, that plant behind me here is real. It's not fake, Mom. Number two, this little ditty right here is real. Okay? It's a real pocket hanky. Hey, guys. Welcome back. Another segment. That guy and that girl providing leadership solutions to business owners. As again, we're continuing with our theme, control your cash before it controls you. A side note, Donna Phoebus cannot control her emotions, but
It's Friday. I'm cutting up a bit.
You know that Donna's really into it. And this is a side that you guys don't see, but I see all the time is, Donna lets the swearing vocab fly once in a while. And that's when I know she's either one, in a good mood, or two, in a bad mood. And then in between. But no, Donna's extremely passionate about her work. And because as we continue this theme, this is, I'll be honest with you guys, this is a topic that not very many entrepreneurs want to talk about. This is the tough talk, the dirty stuff, all right? Because it is all about controlling your cash before it starts to control you, all right? I spoke with, kind of give you a little bit of an idea what I mean, because at some point, every business owner has to realize, has to take that mindset. Donna's going to touch a little bit here on mindset in a minute, and she'll probably throw an F-bomb in there. But listen to me. Every entrepreneur has to make the mindset from a startup organization to a maturing company. And you've got to start controlling your dadgum cash. I met with a client of mine, a former client of mine in the logistics industry. And let me give you a little bit of a background on this guy. We're going to call him Devin. I signed a non-disclosure agreement. And, I promised my clients I won't mention without their permission. However, I can give you his first name, Devin, in Cincinnati, Ohio. This is just to kind of give you an idea as to the integrity of this guy. He signed when he was at one brokerage firm, top producer there, but he, got the entrepreneur bug, thought he could do things better, help his clients better. So he started his own business, but he signed a non-compete clause. And in this non-compete clause said he was going to stay out of the industry for 2 years. Well, Devin abided by it. He stayed out of the industry for 2 years. He went off and helped a friend sell software, a startup helping his friends sell software. He gets back into the business after 2 years out, completely out. Within 3 years, he goes from zero. And I got the financials to prove it. He showed them to me. He went from zero to about 20 million in revenue. This guy busted his butt to get to that level. But everything was about sales. Okay, right, Donna? Doesn't this sound right? You're busting your backside. I was going to say ass, but I want this to be kid friendly. All right.
Just try it, Mike. Ass.
So he busts it. Okay, backside ass, whatever you want to call it. Kids, they'll never let me hear you use that language again. However, so he busts it and he gets to 20 million. And, he's got struggles as he's making his way there. It's tough. It's not easy. He's one of those guys that he's the exception to the rule. So as we were talking just yesterday, he was kind of bringing me up to speed as to where he was. And he talked about some really good hires that he made that have made a true difference in his business. And he's roughly at about 32 million in revenue. And, the key hires he said that he made is that, salespeople came and went. He thinks he has a good sales manager now. However, he said Mike, this is one of the best hires I've ever made. It was my comptroller. is the best, one of the best hires I ever made was the comptroller who understood the numbers. And he put it better than I did. He goes, now that she was able to get a handle on our finances, I could start to truly see where to make the appropriate investments. And not everything was in sales. So we had to put money into technology. That's where my IT guy came in. And he said, so again, this was one of the best things that I've ever done. I asked him, Devin, do you have a budget? He goes, I do now. And he did it. This is one of those things where he was just, rocking and rolling. And like many entrepreneurs, if I can keep the lights on, pay my employees, and maybe pay my own mortgage. If I get to pay my own mortgage, that's the bonus, right, Donna?
Or you might even take home a paycheck. Yeah.
Yeah, you might even take home a paycheck. You might even eat. Lucky you.
Yeah.
You're going to blow your money, but more than likely, most people just blow their money on housing and food. Foolishness. So in our last segment, Donna took some time and walked us through how to create your budget. Go back and take and watch that episode because she took us through how to put the correct expenses in the right category so you can get your true numbers. It was really, really well done. And she showed us how to plan this thing out for a year, how to budget for a year. So Donna, let me ask you something. Even though our budget covers 1 year, should we really kind of wait till the year is over before we review it, or what do we do here?
So let me ask you a quick question.
I'm going to answer a question with a question.
I am.
Let's do it.
Would you wait to go to the doctor if you have a broken arm? Probably not.
No.
You're going to go right away. Yeah, you're going to go right away because that, the doctor can fix it. That, that's the way that you're going to get help, right? Mm-hmm. So same thing with a budget. You don't have to wait. You can start a budget today and just take it forward.
What about reviewing it?
What's that?
What about to review my budget? I set the budget for a year. So my thought is, we're good for a year. We'll come back and review the budget at the end of a year.
Well, so you can, but you want to review it every month because just because, you have it for the year, I don't have to wait. I don't have to look at it until a year from now. Mm-hmm. That's not the point. You want to review it every month because you want to see how you're doing, in relation to what that budget is. What are those actuals? You want to know, okay, where am I at? Am I on point with the budget? How am I measuring up? Where am I at? Do I still have money I can spend on, materials to produce what I need to produce? Or, what's everything look like? What's come up? So you want to be looking at it all the time. You can even look at it weekly if you wanted to, just to see how you're doing.
Okay.
I always recommend at a minimum every month as a review when you're looking at your profit and loss and your balance sheet. So that you have that information and how you can move forward and not get caught again at the end of the year.
Okay.
With your pants down.
Okay.
Nobody likes the pants around their ankles, right? So.
Point number 2, I am wearing pants, at least as this segment is being recorded. All right. So, and I appreciate the reminder, Donna. Thank you very much. Mike, put the pants on.
Have you seen that commercial with that gentleman? It's a new Zoom commercial where the dude is attending a Zoom commercial with his colleagues and he's in his underwear. And they're like, we can see you.
This is what happens, people. I remember when everybody was complaining about work-life balance, right? My work-life balance, I need, I need time away from work. Now we just love, working from home, and, God knows it's going to pop up in that camera. But now let me ask you, okay, at the time that we're shooting this segment, what month are we in? Late February, heading into March here.
Yep.
The year has already started, maybe even if we're 6 months into the year. Is it too late to create a budget? Should we just wait till the year is over?
No, you want to create it immediately. If you hadn't created it already, because if you wait, then your problem persists and you continue to function without the clarity, right? Of where the money is going. And if you're going to be on track to be profitable. So you don't want to wait. You want to do it as soon as you can. Once you identify, oh, I need to have a budget.
Right.
Hopefully you already have one. But if you don't continue to wait, because then your problem just is waiting for you at the end.
Okay. All right. You know what, when we were talking about this earlier, Donna, one of the things you said to me that kind of rang home is that, Mike, you said to me, Mike, this whole segment, everything we're talking about controlling your money instead of your money controlling you. And if your thought process is, well, I have to wait, or I should wait till the end of the year, that's a sign that the money is controlling you. You're not, the money is telling you when to budget, when not to budget. It's almost a sign that you're afraid. There may be some fear to kind of dive in to see what your current state is. So it's kind of a mindset, kind of a discipline. I mean, that's what you were telling me. Is that?
Yeah, it is. It's a mindset of discipline. So mindset is all around us. Everything that we do comes back to our mindset, our habits. Right. And so disciplining yourself with beginning to use a budget and sticking with it is, it's a discipline. So, but you need to stick to it. So you start it, you stick to it. So I love this term. If you approach your numbers with a willy nilly kind of, mindset, you're going to get a willy nilly result. You're not going to half-ass your business. Why would you do that? You know what I mean? So a budget is, you use it as a tool, not tool. If you go back to one of our earlier segments, we kind of honed in on, I think it was the first one actually. What are people feeling? What are these business owners going through emotionally? Right. And so when it comes to the numbers, they're feeling anxious. They've got that anxiety. They're depressed. They've lost that feeling of, they have that feeling of, oh my gosh, what am I going to do? They're embarrassed. They don't want to uncover what they're feeling because they think it makes them look like a failure or people are going to judge them. And so the budget is just another tool for you controlling your cash. It helps alleviate a lot of that stress and those feelings of anxiety that, a lot of business owners, are dealing with. So to give you an example, right. I have a client, and forgive me, I forgot to close my door and my cat is in here today.
I hate cats.
He's circling my feet right now. Anyway.
Work-life balance, Donna. Work-life balance.
Yeah, I know. Well, they're my calming, peaceful, see, there he is. Get down.
Good Lord. What the hell is that?
He's a big boy. He doesn't miss meals.
Look at the size
He's
of
not
that.
Going to go away. He's not going to go away, so we're just going to have to deal with it today. But I have a client that I've worked with since mid-2019, and his name is Ken. Okay. And so we started working together in June of 2019. Okay. And we were about 6 months into the year, and we started his budget because they weren't using one. And so, they were tracking their numbers. They were using QuickBooks, so they kind of knew where they were, but they didn't, so it was like, and they never were disciplined with their money. Matter of fact, they didn't really have any money because they weren't paying attention. They weren't, at that point, they were just kind of using it, and kind of going through the motions. They weren't really running it like a business. Right. Anyway, very intelligent, very loving, caring people. They have amazing service. He's into hypnosis. Okay. Phenomenal. But, they had this issue. So after, we were working together, it was our first meeting, and we put them, on a track, on a plan of what we were going to do. It was like, they just like came alive. It was the most amazing experience. And it was like, oh my gosh, this is the perfect, I know that this is where I'm supposed to be. That was amazing just to watch the life come back to these people. It was like a high, I don't know what it's like to get high other than at the police station. If you remember that, but it was amazing.
Yeah.
This is why I don't like him in here when we're videoing. Yeah. He's a pain in the ass.
For those of you who can't see, today's theme is control your numbers before they control you, and taking a good hard look at asses. We just had a hard look at Donna's cat's ass here. For those of you who are listening, that's what's going on. But
if he had pants, he'd be one of those that would be showing it out the window of the back seat of the car, right?
Yeah.
He's my crazy, he's my sweet boy. He's a good boy.
And I'm not a pet person. I'll be honest, straight up. I'm not a pet person. Yeah.
He's my employee. Anyway.
All right. I understand. And the comments are going to start lighting up about why Mike Temple is not a pet person. I'm not into dogs. I'm not into cats.
I love cats. Love cats. I love dogs too.
So Ken is 6 months into doing this, starting his budget, and it starts to kind of relieve some of the depression, some of the anxiety. And if I understand what you're saying, Donna, that, they didn't think they had any money. And putting together the budget kind of confirmed that a little bit, right?
Yeah.
But now right? Now you have an idea. We all have a desired state, or at least we should have a desired state as to where our company, where we want to take it. If you don't know what your current state is, you have no idea how far you are away from your desired state, and your financials is the key to this. It's not sexy. I'll be the first to admit. I've been doing, I've been doing, executive coaching since 2008. And I'll be the first to admit it's not sexy. How many entrepreneurs, how many people started a business with the mindset of, holy smokes, I can't wait to start doing cash analysis, cash flow, and budgeting, and who starts a business to do that? All right.
Accountants.
Okay, accountants start that. And, I love to accountants. Donna is our virtual CFO at Temple Executive Coaching. Everybody wants to talk with Donna, but let's be honest here. Okay. If we didn't have IRS laws at the end of every year where we had to fill in taxes, would we really go to an accountant? When do we turn to an attorney? Whenever we need, when we've disrupted the law. Okay. But so this is something that we need, but this is one of the things that is not talked about a lot. It's not very, other than accountants, Donna, it's not very exciting. It's, how many thought leaders, bring out leading provocative thoughts on the financials. They just don't, right? But if you don't control your numbers like your client Ken here was telling you, it doesn't matter how excited you are about your business. It doesn't matter your desired state. If you're not producing revenue, bottom line revenue, you're not going to have a business.
Yep.
Not going to have a business. All right.
Yep. Exactly. So I want to go back to that word budget, right?
Right.
It's just a simple tool that you can use to control, right?
Mm-hmm.
So let's go back to mindset real quick.
Okay.
So I've got something floating around in here. Sorry.
This is
going back to mindset.
Donna, this
probably
is a tough
cat
day.
hair.
Yeah.
I know.
This is a tough day, folks.
I know it.
I mean, for us to put this particular segment together, you don't know what's going on behind the scenes here, but it's been a tough one. We had internet difficulty. So if our voices come through kind of chopped up a little bit, our deepest apologies with the internet connection. My podcast producer, Sabrine, please take care of that. if we come in kind of chopped up like I'm a robot or something, and it's not our fault. So we started off with a tough set that way. We had a tough kickoff, with our asses. Donna's cat came into the room. It's complete mayhem. But as we push through, and Donna, you mentioned earlier about the mindset, controlling and your mindset, the discipline to stay with your budget, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
You've got to stay disciplined, and you need to, it's it's becoming responsible and accountable to yourself.
Sure.
Having your employees be accountable to you,
Mm-hmm.
it's
Right.
just, setting that new habit,
Mm-hmm.
new objective, incorporate it into your goals. We're going to review our budget every month. It's a new healthy habit, and it's one that is well worth the effort. So I suggest it to everybody. I don't care how big or small you are, you have to have a budget so that you know where you are,
right,
where you want to be,
mm-hmm.
and what's in the middle, so you know what you're targeting.
Right. Donna, I think also in a prior discussion and in our last episode that we did when you were showing people and you were taking us through a budget for the first time, and I noticed as we were going through that budget, you were making some adjustments as we were talking through it, right? And it almost seemed as if, as you're looking through your budget on a monthly basis, and taking Ken, and I'm sure my my prior client Devin, it starts to kind of surface some questions, because one of the things that at least my prior client said, was he now knew what questions to ask, where to get some clarity. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. So if we were to say, what does that mean, asking the questions? Because there's questions that can affect the budget, which affects, the lifeblood of your business, which is your cash flow. What does that mean? Asking questions that affect the budget.
Yeah. So the easiest way for me to explain that is going to be to give you a visual of what I mean.
Yeah.
And I say that, what's that?
You're on board with the visual.
Okay.
Let's do the
visual. So I need to share with you I'm going to bring the spreadsheet back up. And what I've done, because I knew we were going to be talking about this, is I've added a few columns to the budget we used in our last episode, so that I can show you after you have gone through, say, a month or whatever, because that's the example I'm going to give you. You can see what it looks like. You can see what the numbers look like, and how it measures up. So let me share the screen, see if I can get the right one.
Okay.
Up here. And let me know when you can see it.
I can see it.
Okay. Yay. All right. So this probably looks familiar. So what I did is I added this column, the actual column, and the difference column.
Okay.
So here's our budget. So we created that last time.
Okay.
And then what I'd like to do is just take you through a couple of examples where I, dummied up some numbers.
Okay.
And just for, the purpose of our conversation here. So in our budget, our sales, we targeted $1 million, right?
Correct.
So your actuals for the month came in at 800,000. When we go to that questioning mindset, it goes back to mindset.
Right.
You're going to ask, why didn't it come in at $1 million? Why are we only at 800,000?
Okay.
And so you're going to go figure that out. Right.
Right.
So I made me a few little cheat notes here. So, in this particular, as an example, we had a late shipment of product that didn't come in. And by product, I mean ingredients to make our orders. Gosh, my brain's going crazy here.
It's the cat, Donna.
So, it's the cat. Yeah. So we had a shipment that was late on some materials that we needed to make, some of our orders. So we couldn't ship everything out. And the reason, the other piece was, and we'll get into that in just a minute, is we had a mechanical breakdown. So
okay.
Both of those items kind of played into the difference that we're seeing here.
Okay.
So our net revenue, instead of it being just under $1 million, came in at 800, which is, pretty significant, for this particular business.
Okay.
So if we go down into cost of goods sold.
Right.
We budgeted $650,000 for ingredients.
Okay.
Well, we didn't know that the shipment was going to be late. We didn't know that we were going to have this breakdown. So we ordered what we needed, right?
Right.
But our purchasing person found a new vendor, and because we are working within a budget, we want to obviously come in under or at budget. So she found a discount with the new supplier, saved us $10,000. So you can see on this line, we saved $10,000. You with me so far?
So, yeah, that makes sense. So what I'm starting to see come to the surface, Donna, is once you develop the budget, and if everyone knows transparency, clear, being clear as to what the expectation is, this particular purchasing agent realized we have a $650,000 budget, understood that, that deliveries are off. What can I do to affect that budget number? And went out with some initiative and found a vendor without sacrificing, of course, quality, right?
Yep.
We don't know the conversations that were had, but something was done because they knew that they were working within a budget and the right questions to ask, and saved us $10,000.
Yep.
Okay.
It's pretty good.
Not bad.
It turns out that 10,000, is what helped them pay for the equipment that broke down.
Right. Okay.
So moving on to the next line.
Right.
I had to add in equipment rental because we had our mixing machines go down.
Right.
And that cost $6,000 to rent that equipment to fill in until we could get our machine fixed.
Okay.
Right. So here we have a negative 6,000. We didn't budget for it. You can see here, there was no budget for equipment rental.
Okay.
And so we've got a deficit.
Okay.
The next line, I didn't change anything there. We ordered what we ordered.
Container,
no
wax
savings.
paper. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep. So, and then towards the end of, excuse me, let me back up for a second. Because of all of the issues we had with the equipment and with the materials coming in late, we ended up having to have people work overtime.
Okay.
Right. And let me just remind everybody that this is a hypothetical company, and I keep talking about it like it's my company. I'm just making sure everybody knows that. I just tend to do that.
When you put up that first, we were supposed to have $1 million in sales. We came in at 800,000. Let's ask a question. Who's in charge of sales? Mike.
Yeah.
Let's not bare souls for everything, Donna. All right.
Sorry.
So this is all hypothetical, people. Hypothetical.
So our hypothetical employees got to work overtime because we had to make up for some lost time, right? In between that time of the machine breaking down and getting a rental in place and, the materials all coming in so that we could, get our products made.
Okay.
So I made an adjustment there and an adjustment on taxes as, the same type of result. And you can see that we have some additional negatives here.
Right.
Now look at this part is the part that really will scare the hell out of a person.
Right.
Our net revenue, so that's your gross profit down here. but our net revenue minus our cost of goods sold. What do I have, like a missing deal here? Darn it. Hang on just 2 seconds.
Okay. Make the change on the fly. But again, this is a prime example of reviewing the budget on a monthly basis, catching things, realizing where the money is, what was missed.
Yeah.
Questions that'll come up. I mean, already things that as the owner, you might not see, you know of, but you don't know the actual impact. The bakery, the equipment rental. Just go rent, just go rent some equipment. We're down. We've got to get overtime in to get this done. There's another cost. You know about it in theory, but you don't know the impact that it has to the bottom numbers. That also affects payroll taxes. So we're already off 200 grand in sales for that month. So what happened to us, Donna?
Yeah, well, take a look at this.
Oh, whoa.
This is alarming, right?
Right.
You were budgeting 332,000.
Right.
But your actual gross profit is only 134K. And here is almost all of your $200,000 difference.
So how much are we off for that month with everything that happened?
We'll call it 200.
Wow. Down 200,000.
So, so far at this point on the gross profit line. Yeah.
Okay.
Let's just move forward for the sake of time. I know people are limited on time for their ability to watch us, but even as entertaining as we are. But so I left the operating expenses the way that they were.
Right.
But I did add in, a repair because we need to fix our machine, right?
Correct.
So this is slightly different down here on your operating expense line. And then as a result, your net profit at the bottom is also substantially lower. So after, you've got your sales and you have your cost of goods sold removed, and then you have your expenses removed and taken out, you're left over with your net profit of 289,000. That was the budget.
Okay.
This was your actual. Significant difference there. And here's another one that I didn't put in. There's your difference. So we're slightly over $201,000 difference because of, how the costs and things lined up. Or
Negative.
Line up. You're always
negative.
You're always going to have that difference.
Donna, I got to admit, if I was in this situation, this would be tough to look at. It'd be scary.
Yeah.
Right.
You'd be like, I thought we did so much better than this.
Right.
And you'd be like, what do you mean? What do you mean we only made 86,000?
Correct.
Well, now you have something that you can go back and you can look at and you can dig in. And let me go back to the comment about asking questions. Why, why did we have, $3,700 more in payroll? What's that from?
Correct.
So you're going to go in and then there's going to be different scenarios, right? So, advertising is a big one. All of these things can be, something that, you didn't budget for, like our equipment, repair. We didn't budget for that.
Okay.
And so using this budget, you can, figure out, oh, okay, this is where we need to be. Oh, this is where we are.
Right.
And now we know what changes we have to make going forward so that at the end of the year, we can still come out where we want to.
Right.
Right here at this 3.8 million. So,
correct.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it gives you that tool. And this tool basically, it essentially lines up with your P&L, right?
Correct.
So you're looking at the same accounts, excuse me, that you look at on your P&L. It's just showing you what your what you actually came in versus what you budgeted for.
Yes.
P&L is not really going to do that. It's just going to show you what the numbers are.
And you can look at your budget.
Okay.
Yeah. You can look at this budget on a weekly basis. P&L, by the time you get your P&L statement, it's too late. It's already happened.
Right.
Adjustments can't be made.
Yep.
From here, Donna, if you go back up to the sales where we had projected $1 million was the budget, right? And we came in at 800,000, already $200,000 off. That now gives me the opportunity to drill down deep. Why were we off 200,000? Do we have the right salespeople? Do we have enough of the right salespeople? Were we making, was the activity affected where we should have been making sales? What activity is good? What activity are we wasting our time on? Look, I'll be the first to tell you that I'm not a big proponent of cutting on the marketing. In a perfect world, your marketing, where's the marketing budget, Donna? That's on here.
Oh, it's down here in your fixed costs right here.
In the fixed costs. So we've got marketing. My thought would be maybe we need to do one or two things. Increase marketing. And what is the cost of that? Do we have the right people in the right seats on our sales team? I've got to make a decision there as well. So
are you marketing in the right area? Are you using the right kind of marketing? I mean, it opens up so many questions that you can just dive in to, I did a post, I think it was yesterday, and it talks about problems not being, in the fruit. The problem is not in the fruit, it's in the roots. So this is giving you the roots of, where you can dig into, what is going on so that you can fix the actual issues, not the surface level issues.
Get to the root of the problem. You can either get to the rut of the problem or the root of the problem.
Depending upon how southern you are or not.
Is it rut beer or root beer? In the South, we call it soda pops. It doesn't really matter. So, but this allows me now, because in a perfect world, Donna, your marketing message should hit your target market before your sales team shows up in a perfect world. So I'm not, it does make me kind of ask two questions. What happened in sales? And is our marketing effort going in the right direction? I take a look at this, bakery, the equipment rental. We didn't have anything budgeted for that prior years. Now I have an actual. What led up to us having to rent additional equipment? Was it a weather situation? Was it a bad equipment decision? What led us to that point? And in the future, should we be budgeting for equipment rental? Should something happen? Should we budget? Is this a cyclical thing? Right? I mean, overtime this year, are we, I see we've got some bakery equipment in here. We've got some bakery ingredients. Is this seasonal? Are we going to be impacted by additional costs in employee time? And of course, that's going to impact the payroll. Or was this just an anomaly? So this is what uncovers those questions that entrepreneurs have to have the mindset and the discipline. We've got to make decisions as to what's going on here. It's not always about vision casting and mission, although those are important elements to have in place. In fact, Donna, if I had a strong vision of where I wanted to go, my vision is supposed to help get us through these during these difficult times.
Yeah, exactly.
But I've got to know how bad it is.
Give you the screen back there.
Oh, thank you for giving it back. So
yeah, it's just very, very helpful in helping, to just see what's going on.
Yeah. Getting a grip on your cash instead of your cash controlling you. And it's probably, it might not be nearly as bad as you thought it was, right? If you're working with an industry expert like Donna, who knows the right questions to push you on and to bring to the surface. And sometimes entrepreneurs, business owners, they got to be challenged. And they have to be, someone's got to ask them the right questions and drill deep. And that's what at least putting together a true constructive budget is. So, and a lot of things, Donna, we wouldn't have known unless we had a budget and we could dive deep into it. We can pull out our true key KPIs, our true key performance indicators from a budget, and see where that impact is at. So, again, Donna, excellent job in speaking to, another great segment of control your cash before it controls you. Folks, if you have any additional questions for Donna, please contact her at Donna at Temple Executive Coaching. She's an industry expert. She's our virtual CFO. She works with clients. Donna, again, educate us. What industries have you worked with clients in?
Oh, I've kind of been all over the place. I've done quite a bit of my career was spent in transportation. So running, like operations and, the accounting office, kind of learned it from the ground up. So I've also spent time in manufacturing, construction, healthcare. I know I'm forgetting a big one.
E-commerce, I think.
A little. I've dabbled a bit in e-commerce, and then there was my stint with the state as an auditor, which was fun. Because I'm like that sleuth. I love kind of that detective work on the traditional accounting side. I love digging for, which is probably why I like doing this with people, is because I like digging for, really, why is that? Why is that there? Just asking all those questions. So
yeah, I've seen Donna even work with comptrollers, business owners, when they've come forward and said something's not quite right. There's something bothering me about our numbers. There's something not quite right. I've seen Donna dive in to the numbers. She's even asked hard questions. Do you have an inventory control process? Do you have an inventory audit process? If you're in the service industry, she's dove in deep and asked service questions. We don't have inventory. What do we need inventory for? Why do we need a budget? We're not going to manage to the budget because we don't have any assets. I've seen her dive in and ask some of those hard questions as well, and seeing the owner's eyebrows kind of rise, when she's asked some tough questions to him. So Donna, again, thank you so much. Donna at Temple Executive Coaching. You have any questions, shoot her an email. Hey, guys, if you have any questions on some segments you'd like to hear Donna talk more in, we'd be happy to hear you. If you believe you're an industry expert and you'd like for us to talk to you as well, we invite those conversations. So again, guys, thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of That Guy, That Girl, providing leadership solutions to business owners. Control your cash, man, before it controls you. Yes, this hanky is real. Ladies and gentlemen, thanks for tuning in. Can't wait to see you on our next segment.
Bye.
Bye-bye.